So, once we get to the majority, which I'm hoping and praying we get to, next cycle, that allows me to start to open up and do the things that would look like an impeachment.
Let's say you were elected to ranking member and the Democrats take the House and you become chair of that committee. Would you pursue impeachment?
I would absolutely at least do an inquiry. Absolutely. I mean, I think that there's more than enough to inquire about. So,
Wow. This is Democrat Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. She just said with a straight face that if Democrats win back the House, they're going to impeach Donald Trump. Yeah. No fix the economy, not lower crime, impeach Trump again. Even though this man is beating the odds. If the left had any real solutions, they wouldn't be recycling these old vendettas like they claim that Trump is doing or will do. This isn't leadership. It's just obsession dressed as their policy when they really, really don't have none. But here's the twist. Even CNN, they can't hide the numbers anymore. The CNN data analysis shock when he finds out the latest polls gives Republicans a double-digit lead on the economy. Yeeks.
There's 4 months of the Donald Trump presidency that you expect that Democrats would have this massive lead on the economy. It ain't so. It ain't so. The party that is closest to your economic views, in November of 2023, it was the Republicans by 11 points. Now it's still within that range, still within that margin of error. Plus 8-point advantage for the Republican Party. How is that possible, Democrats? How is that possible after
Peep his energy.
all the recession fears, after the stock market's been doing all of this, after all the tariffs that Americans are against, and Republicans still hold an 8-point lead on the economy? Are you kidding me?
This is new CNN polling.
Yes.
How is that, when we look for trends, how is that trending with other data that you're pulling in?
Yeah, if it was just this one CNN poll, that would be one thing. But take a look at Reuters Ipsos. What do we see here? Party with a better economic plan. Well, in May of 2024, just before Donald Trump was reelected president, Republicans had a 9-point advantage. Look at where we are now in May of 2025. The advantage actually went up by 3 points. Now Republicans have a 12-point advantage when it comes to the party with a better economic plan. And again, this is after months of supposed economic uncertainty in which the stock market's been going bonkers, in which the tariff wars that Americans are against have been going on. And yet, despite all of that, the Democrats are down by 12 points on the economy. This speaks to Democratic problems on the economy better than basically anything that you could possibly look at. The Republicans still hold an advantage on the all-important key issue of the day, and that is the reason why, even if Donald Trump's approval ratings are a little bit lower than they used to be, Republicans are not out of the ballgame because they still have a clear advantage on the economy, whether you look at CNN's polls or whether you look at the Ipsos poll right here, in which they have a 12-point.
Look at her. She's
an advantage on the economy, Kate.
And also in the CNN data, it does show that Republicans are gaining ground in an area that is key relating to all of this, which is when it comes to the middle class.
Yeah. Historically speaking, which is the party of the middle class has been a huge advantage for Democrats. I have polling from NBC going all the way back since 1989 when Democrats had a 23-point advantage. 2016, a 17-point advantage. But by this decade, we already started seeing declines back in 2022 where you saw that Democrats led, but only by 4 points, well within the margin of error. And now in our latest CNN poll among registered voters, which is the party of the middle class, it is tied. This, I think, speaks to Democratic ills more than anything else. They have traditionally been the party of the middle class. No more. Donald Trump and the Republican Party have taken that mantle away, and now a key advantage for Democrats historically has gone adios amigos, and now there is no party that is the party of the middle class. Republicans have completely closed the gap, Kate.
Oh,
All right,
my
there's
gosh.
a lot of messages and a lot to be learned from these numbers and this data. It's good to see you, Harry.
Nice
Thank
to
you
see you,
so
Kate.
much. Still ahead for us, an athlete takes home.
Like I said, even CNN, they can't even hide talking about the numbers anymore. The new poll shows Republicans with a double-digit lead on who voters trust with the economy. You can't argue with that. Despite months, years rather, of anti-Trump fear-mongering, Americans are still waking up, and that gives me hope. And it got the media panicking. This is after all their propaganda, and they still losing. Can't gaslight an empty wallet no more, man. Voters know who's hurting their bank accounts. We aren't food. Now, I want y'all to see what another CNN panel admits that Americans are turning. The Democrat Party is losing ground. Peep this.
The poll also asks which party best reflects their view on a range of issues. And when it comes to crime, the economy, immigration, Republicans still hold an advantage, although actually those numbers are starting to slip. How did you think about this poll as you were looking through?
I couldn't help but be reminded about a big problem in my part of the world, the econ part of the world. We can't get a clean read on how consumers feel about the economy because the data has been infected by partisanship, really in an unprecedented manner. So,
meaning your partisanship reflects whether or not you think the economy is good or not?
Do people think the economy is not doing well, or do they just not like who's in the White House? This is a huge problem right now, and it's making it impossible to get that clarity that economists like to see about how consumers are doing. Do they intend to spend? Makes it impossible to forecast.
Because we also, the poll
Amen
also
to
asks which
that.
party best.
Look, even what you say, is it Axios? Reporter, she had to admit it. She said partisanship is infecting people's views on the economy. So I'm going to translate that for y'all. They mad, big mad. They're mad Americans don't believe the lies no more, no matter how hard the left-wing media is continuously trying to spin it. You can't cover up this kind of failure. You can't. I'm trying to tell y'all, it's catastrophic for them. The more they try to explain it, the worse it looks for them. You got Jasmine Crockett out here at the forefront. If truth sounds like hate, maybe your side has been lying a little way too long. Now, I want y'all to see this. A Democrat senator jumps ship. What?
You know the Democratic Party has lost all of its mojo when even white liberal women are switching parties.
Uh-oh.
Check this out, folks. Democratic representative out of Kentucky, more specifically, senator out of Kentucky, Robin Webb has officially left the Democratic Party, stating that she believes the party no longer represents what she stands for. Now, this is a sentiment that most of us can agree with, right? The old school liberals, those who saw themselves as Democrats or even somewhere between the aisle, God forbid you even saw yourself as somebody who was quite a bit woke. Once they completely lost their living minds, you probably found yourself where most did, just like RFK Jr., Tulsi Gabbard, who are quite literally in DJT's cabinet. As a matter of fact, DJT was a Democrat before fully coming to his senses like the rest of us. So good on you, Robin. And I feel like this is just the beginning.
Oh, man, the beginning indeed. And the cracks are starting to show from the inside. Y'all see it with your very eyes. Democrat State Senator Robin Webb from Kentucky just switched parties. This is a common thing we're starting to see. Shout out to the Walk Away campaign for broadcasting a big lens on that. She said the Democrat Party doesn't represent her anymore, and she's not alone. How do you feel? I know I don't feel like it identifies with me anymore. More moderates are walking away every month as well. And if your base is running away, maybe it's not the voters who changed. It could be you. I'm just saying. Even the people on the inside of the room, or in the inside of the room, rather, are tired of pretending that they agree. Now, I want y'all to see Tim Walz's son explain Trump's appeal. From Tim Walz.
I say this because I'm proud to say it looks like as of next Tuesday, I'm going to have a high school graduate with my son, Gus. And he's
Congrats.
pretty in tune to this. But when he said this, he said, Dad, a lot of these young guys especially said they're not voting on the policy issues. And he wasn't dissing them. He said they may know the policy issues, but most of them don't. They're doing it because there's a sense of excitement, a sense of thrill in this. It's entertainment or whatever. We all dismiss that. Donald Trump's a clown. You know, Donald Trump's rallies are a clown. You know, this MMA fighting stuff and this, you know, and look, you start veering in to the Andrew Tate stuff, which is dangerous misogyny and, assault issues and all of that. But there's a peripheral side of that is not criminal, but is still going down the same road of saying you got a place to belong. And I think, this is me just pontificating for what it's worth. Social media and other things have disconnected people more than they were. We were more connected in my generation. It was easier to be a kid when I was growing up. And I've always said this as a teacher, if you don't give a kid a place to belong, they'll go find one. So why you want them to be involved in sports and music and things in school, because they will go find a group of folks. And I think Donald Trump understands belonging, understand groups. I mean, you look at it. He gives them a uniform, the red hat. He gives them some chants, some talking points, whatever. It's not all that different than when we build sports teams in high school. You belong, you're part of this. It's not so much the policies. I think it's incredibly dangerous, but I don't think we went out to get them. We didn't out to make them feel a part of this.
I'll tell you what. I agree with that part, that very last part. But as far as Tim Walz, and every time he talks about his son, I can't help but feel like he's trying to hide the fact that his son is a Trump supporter. So under that impression, even Minnesota's liberal governor had to admit it. His own son sees why people support Trump. He says the young men are drawn to Trump because of belonging, identity, and purpose. Of course, he didn't brand it as that, but that's what I heard. Not because they're dumb, not because they hate, but because the left offers nothing but guilt and what's the other G word I'm looking for? Gaslighting. When your own kids say you the problem, maybe listen. I'm just saying. Can inspire a generation with shame. I want y'all to see Democrat mayor who warns illegals about ICE. Yes. It's pitiful out here.
Wilkinsburg Mayor Dante Coleman's posted about it on his Facebook page.
Everyone here is, we're family, we're Wilkinsburg, and we just want to protect each other. We have ordinances that protect everyone, no matter what part of life you're from.
What do you say to people who say you shouldn't be here illegally?
That's how this country started. You got to start, it's all about getting that path to being a resident, and I feel like we need to help them.
Wilkinsburg.
Wow. Meanwhile, as you see here, mayor in Pennsylvania just sent out an urgent alert to help illegals avoid and evade ICE. This is a common trend. What you don't know is he also listed vehicle makes, license plates, street locations, all to help people dodge law enforcement. Helping criminals isn't compassion. I'm telling you, that's corruption. And we, the voters, we noticed that. And since when did the Democrats become the party of lawbreakers? That's not humanitarian. That's sabotage. And as Eric Daltrey put it here, this is illegal. Now, I want to take it to where NYC lawyer roasts liberal logic. Peep this.
How do you feel about a judge being arrested for an immigration issue? I'm like, yeah, an immigration issue. Yeah. Isn't that funny? But in these people's minds, you have to remember, they're so insane. Gang members to them are the equivalent of Anne Frank. Because when you're mentally ill and you believe that the Republican Party is the Nazi Party, then in your insane mind, you can believe that an illegal alien with tattoos all up and down his arms, with women whose lipsies stapled together, is literally a Holocaust survivor hiding in an attic, and that the FBI are the SS. This is the level of mental delusion. Once your mind is broken, once you see the world through a broken frame, anything's possible.
The prisons in El Salvador, they're referring them to taking these gang members to literally death camp. And I say, how can you even compare what's going on to World War II?
There is a rule, I believe it's called Godwin's Law on the internet, that eventually as an argument gets more and more heated, invariably someone will compare their opponent to a Nazi. It's also understood that the person who does this is the person who loses the debate.
Oh, wow. Great context to that. And finally, excuse me, This NYC lawyer says what all of us have been thinking. Liberals are comparing gang members to Anne Frank and ICE agents to Nazis. And on top of that, calling anybody who disagrees a fascist. This is what happens when your whole ideology is based on feelings instead of facts. It needs to be rooted in facts. The delusions are collapsing in real time, though. I'm telling y'all that. If everything is a Nazi, then nothing is, essentially, right? They mock history and protect criminals and wonder why they are losing. Oh, man, it's baffling. Jasmine wants Trump impeached again. CNN admits that Democrats are losing. In America, we're done pretending that the party has anything left to offer. Y'all be safe. Please go check on somebody today. You could be saving their life. Peace.